Hello and welcome to episode 2 of In Development on the Insider Network. So today we'll be doing the next Marvel Cinematic Universe phase. We've had phase 1, 2, 3 and now we're going to be pitching our phase 4. Just briefly, in this show we usually take something, maybe a film that's already out or films that are already out or maybe just a concept in general, and then we pitch our version of what the next thing should be or the first thing should be in some cases. So I'm joined today, as always, by James.
Hello.
As sometimes by Steve.
You can call me Steve or Kevin Feige.
Okay.
No.
And a very special guest, a returning special guest, although it's your first time on this show, is CaptainDave.
Hello. Number 2. I'm going to start keeping count. How many times I'm back.
So yeah, the MCU phase 4. So obviously we just I think we should specify right off the top, we're going to be spoiling Endgame here because we're going to be talking about post-Endgame stuff, so it'd be weird if we didn't. So if you haven't seen Endgame...
I believe the Russo said we're allowed to now.
Yeah, on Monday.
The spoilers are allowed at this point.
Yeah, it's true. So yeah, if you haven't seen Endgame, go and watch it. Like, you're probably the only one who hasn't.
Yeah.
Do a countdown.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1...
Iron Man
Tony
dies.
dies. Yeah, there we go.
Wow, you both went for the same spoiler. This is consistent.
Now I've got a horrible feeling that someone's like Russian, you know.
Someone's desperately trying to click off of it. No, please.
Or what if they put because this is available on iTunes and Spotify.
What a plug.
And what?
Their earphones come out.
No, I'm just worried they put the podcast on while they were driving, and because I do that all the time. If I go on a long drive, put a podcast on, and they thought, well, shit, I've not seen it, and they're like trying to turn it off before they crash their car. If they crashed and it probably turned off, so they're probably fine.
We just killed someone, potentially.
You did it as well, Steve.
I didn't. Me and Dave have got a clean conscience.
I'm over it.
Could you imagine if you were on a train and your earphones come out and a spoiler got announced to the entire character 2 days after the film come out?
Oh, God.
I would pull the emergency stop. Get off that train.
Right, so this is quite... So if you heard episode 1, we obviously all pitched our next film in the Pokemon universe. So it was kind of just one film. We all kind of sat in the same sort of place. Here we're going to be talking about a lot more because, you know, there's a lot more film. I don't know about you guys, but my phase 4 features more than one film.
Yeah.
Yeah?
More than
Everyone?
one. Yeah,
okay.
definitely more than one.
Wait,
More than
what?
one film.
More than one film?
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to kind of just go through this. I don't know. I guess we'll start with James. We'll hear what he's got. We'll hear his pitch for phase 4, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Okay. So I've actually got 12 films, keeping up with the 3 films a year.
Wait. Yeah, that is more than one. You're right.
Yeah, it is. You're right. So even in 1 year, I've got more than one.
Terrence Howard can check my math on that.
So for the next 4 years, keeping up with the 3 films a year. Starting next year, believe it or not, I've got Black Widow, which is
Starting with that.
in March next year.
Okay.
And believe it or not, it's a prequel.
Do you have an exact release date?
I have March 2020.
Oh, wow.
I was going to go like March 22nd.
And it's going to be a prequel, and so you're going to see a bit of her origin, and then it's going to take you up to that Budapest mission with Hawkeye.
Okay.
So Hawkeye's going to be in it as well. In April next year.
A month
late
later?
Late April. So like Avengers is.
Uh-huh.
You'll see a theme going on as I go through my years.
Okay.
And that's going to be the Eternals next year.
Oh, okay.
I haven't really cast that one. As we go through it, I'll cast later on. I don't really know much.
Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yep.
Is it the same?
It's exactly the same.
Are they going to be de-aged the whole time?
They're going to de-age them.
Interesting.
Samuel L. Jackson style.
Nice.
Captain Marvel. But it won't be as much as 90. Because I picture it as a like Born Identity sort of thing.
Okay.
With Black Widow.
Nice.
Unfortunately, Jeremy Renner's looked old, I think, since birth, so
Yeah.
he's fine. He looks exactly the same as he did in the original
And to
Avengers.
be fair, Scarlett
now,
Johansson
so.
hasn't aged,
No.
so I think you'll be alright.
Yeah.
And he's not going to have a mohawk
Smart.
in this one. But yeah, then I've got the Eternals. I don't really know much about the Eternals, but I hear they're making it, so I thought I'd chuck it in. And then at the end of 2020, I've got Doctor Strange Nightmare.
Nightmare. Okay.
Nightmare.
I like that.
Cool. I've not got subtitles for all my films.
They've kind of teased it. I think it's pretty much confirmed that Nightmare is going to be the villain of Doctor Strange 2.
Uh-huh.
And I've got casting for it.
Okay.
So Nightmare will be played by a returning person to Marvel, not to the MCU, Willem Dafoe.
Oh,
Nice.
I love William Dafoe.
I don't know too much about Doctor Strange, and we'll get some more Baron Mordo in there, I'm sure, with Chiwetel Ejiofor coming back. But I feel like he's more of a third film sort of thing, and I think they'll tease that going forward. I didn't love the first Doctor Strange, but now seeing him as Doctor Strange since Infinity War, and then even in Thor Ragnarok when you get a little bit more of him, I like seeing him now. He's fully powered up. So that's my 2020 for those 3 films.
Good year.
Starting off in 2021, we have the return of Black Panther.
Oh. Is that what it's called?
No, it's going to be called Black Panther Atlantis.
Oh.
We're getting.
Yes, that's the way to go.
We're getting
very similar
Namor,
Interesting.
who will be played by Daniel Day Kim.
Who's that?
He was in Lost. He was also in Hellboy recently.
Who's he in Lost?
I don't know.
Jin? What's his name?
Jin.
Jin?
Yeah.
Who's Jin?
Yeah.
What else
He's
is he
in Hawaii 129-25,000 or something as well, I think.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, you know, that old sitcom.
Yeah, and Black Panther's another one that I don't really know too much about character-wise. And I kind of struggled with this one a little bit more, but they kind of tease it a little bit in Endgame. You get a little bit of, there's like an earthquake underwater. I think Namor, because the rights are still technically with Universal, I think, for Namor. So I thought it made sense to like kind of bring him in this way and give him a sort of Thor Hulk sort of way. And Namor will have existed already. It's not an origin for him. He's already been down in Atlantis.
The first mutant.
Yeah.
The first mutant. Ooh.
The Submariner.
So the next film after that in April 2021 is Fantastic Four.
Ooh.
Which will star John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic.
Yes. Nice.
Emily Blunt as
Nice.
the Invisible Woman. Ron Perlman as the Thing.
Interesting.
And then I've put Taron Egerton
I thought about Taron Egerton
as Human Torch.
Yeah.
And then I've got Justin Theroux as Doctor Doom. He was in Maniac. I don't know if you watched that. He was also in he was briefly in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google's my friend on this one.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Google Justin Theroux. So yeah, we're gonna get an origin. I think the Fantastic Four. It's kind of annoyed me that I didn't put them as the 4th film in Phase 4. I think I've missed an opportunity there, but I'm always gonna have Team Ups as my 2nd film in the year.
Oh, from American Psycho.
Yeah.
And The Spy Who Dumped Me.
And he actually wrote Iron Man 2.
Did he?
That's a fun fact.
Ooh.
You want to reward him?
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a great achievement.
No, that's fine by me. So yeah, the Fantastic Four, they're kind of going to be that first sort of Fox crossover that we're going to get, and they're going to be teased, I think, earlier in Phase 4 that they're coming.
Can I say I
they're
love
gonna
that
play a big
casting,
bit.
by the way, that you've done
Thank
for
you.
Fantastic Four. I know I wouldn't have thought of that. That's a good. I like the Emily Blunt and
I have to say,
John Krasinski. I love that.
John
But
Krasinski and Emily Blunt are also my Sue Storm.
Yeah,
and
same.
Reed
Did you see
Richards.
the recent Fantastic Four comic where
It looks like John
It
Krasinski.
looks exactly like it.
Yeah, they've done
so-
that. Yeah.
Yeah, like Ultimate Universe Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So in July 2021, we're going to have Shang-Chi, a
Right.
character I don't really know anything about.
No, me neither.
But I've cast Henry Golding
Is
as
that the guy from
Crazy Rich
Yeah,
Asians.
he's
Yeah,
really good
and
in that.
Searching. Yeah, I really like him.
Is he in what's it called? Simple Favor.
Yeah,
as well?
A Simple Favor as well.
Yeah,
So
good year.
he had a really good year, and I think it makes sense to then bring him in while he's on the up and give him a lead that he's obviously done now in a couple of films.
Yeah.
Um,
No, he's talented.
he is talented, and he's going to be rewarded by leading Shang-Chi in 2021. So we're halfway through my Phase 4 now.
Wow, only half.
We're 6 films in. And in 2022, we're going to get a sequel to Captain Marvel.
Cool. What's it called?
It's called The Supreme. I don't know anything about Captain Marvel.
Okay, it's a cool title.
Because we're going to do a bit more of the Intelligence Supreme or whatever it's called.
Supreme Intelligence.
I knew whichever way I went, it was going to be the other way around.
That's the way.
And we're going to bring Annette Bening back. We're going to bring Jude Law back. We're going to get Mendelsohn back because we're going to deal a little bit more with. We're going to see Captain Marvel trying to help the Kree find a home.
Yeah.
We're going to fill in that gap.
Scroll.
That's what I meant.
It's just not going your way, is it? All
Captain Marvel.
You're doing so well, James.
It just isn't my thing. So we're going to see her find the Skrull, and you're going to see more.
Find the Kree. No, I'm joking. You got it right. That
I know I did.
I'm waiting for you to call her Lieutenant DC now.
And so we're gonna see her like trying to find the Skrulls a new home, but then you're also gonna see these new factions of Skrulls which aren't as good as the ones that she's with, which is gonna be teasing something that's gonna come later on in my phase. That all the Skrulls aren't as good as the ones that she's helping out. So that's Captain Marvel in March 2022.
Wonderful.
April 2022, I've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 featuring 4.
Ooh.
That's the title.
Is that the
featuring
title?
4.
Feet 4.
Like a rap album.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that works so well for Guardians. So that's going to sort of be like a quest to try and find this new Gamora that they kind of lost post Endgame. And then we're also going to get Adam Warlock in this film.
Played by
Zac Efron.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
I've gone for a younger sort of one.
Zac Efron may be in my casting as well.
Interesting.
But not for Adam Warlock.
Ooh, I can probably guess who that is.
I mean, yeah.
And that's also he's probably gonna be the villain sort of side of it, because I can't remember the race, the gold people at the end of the
I think they're called the gold people.
Yeah, but they're gonna be the sort of main villain of this film, and they're gonna be after the Guardians, and so Adam Warlock will be a villain for most of that, and then get turned around.
Yeah.
My last film of 2022, we're getting towards the end, don't worry, is my next Spider-Man film. Now, I had to shove home into the title somewhere. So it's called Hunt for a New Home.
Okay.
Because,
Kraven?
believe it or not, it's Kraven, who will be played by John Hamm.
Oh, okay.
That's different. Okay.
Right.
I was going to have it as a Sinister Six film, but I don't think there's going to be enough set up. So I think I'll leave that till phase 5. I've already got this planned out in my head.
I'm sure you do.
So we're going to get, I imagine we'll get sort of 2 villains in Far From Home, like we got with Scorpion and Vulture in Homecoming. I reckon we'll get Mysterio and someone else, like a smaller sort of one. And then we'll get Kraven and someone else. And then in phase 5, we'll get Sinister Six, where I'm already got it in my head that Peter Parker's going to die and Miles Morales is going to take over to be the Sinister Six.
Damn.
But that's not that's phase 5.
Bold move.
Thank you. So that's my 2022. And then my final year of phase 4 is 2023, which is going to be Tommy's favourite year, because in February we have the Silver Surfer.
Woo!
Who will be played by the great Mahershala Ali.
He is great.
And it will also introduce Galactus.
So is it sort of starting, like, on Zenlar, like
Sure.
as Norrin Rad, or
Yeah.
is it starting as Silver Surfer?
I think it will be flashbacks.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So
So are you going for like the whole like memory loss thing?
yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Also, like he'll be playing a role, and as the film's going on, you're seeing parts of his
Like
how
Captain
he got
Marvel.
to where he is.
Yeah. That
Kind
sort
of.
of thing.
I was trying to think who they did that with. Black Panther, was it? No.
Captain Marvel.
Yeah, Captain Marvel. There's something they did before that. I can't remember who, but yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, that sort of thing.
Winter Soldier.
And Galactus will be played by Michael Shannon.
Cool. Cool. I like Michael Shannon.
Who's going to be, so he's not the big villain of this, but him and Justin Theroux as Doctor Doom, they're kind of going to be the big ones going forward for me in the later phases. In April 2023, we've got the next Avengers film, which is going to be Secret Invasion.
Oh, okay.
I felt, because I didn't want something too big, and I felt like there's room that it could have been set up already with the Captain Marvel and the Skrulls. I think that kind of made sense, as I feel like it's sort of an Age of Ultron sort of thing, where the story in the comics is huge, and then they'll kind of
Just condense it.
condense it down.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see Super Skrull as well?
No.
No. Oh, what? I love Super Skrull.
Is that it? Is that?
I've got
Maybe
one
set
final
up as a
film
future
of
Fantastic
2023.
Four villain, maybe.
Yeah, I think he'd definitely be set up, but I don't think he'll be in it. But my final film of 2023 and this phase is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Into the Microverse.
Oh, okay.
Where we'll also get
Into the Spider-Verse.
No. They'll also like set up the young his daughter taking over the mantle.
Stature.
Yeah. And that's my phase 4.
Very good. Insert round of applause.
Clap, 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 clap.
Clap, clap.
Clap, 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 clap.
Steve, do you want to give us yours?
Yeah, I can go next.
Should we talk about it? That's very good.
Let's talk about it first.
Hit me with questions.
Yeah, I really like it. So yeah, there's no like. So the overall, so you're doing Doom and Galactus as kind of like the overarching, and that's going to pay off in later phases, is it?
Yeah, I think Galactus will be. I think I'm going to set up Doom for the Avengers in Phase 5, and then Galactus as Phase 6 Avengers film.
Cool.
I think you had a good casting for Galactus as well. I was a little behind on the reactions because I was googling the people as you were saying them. So, but no, like he just has that Galactus jawline straight off the back. Michael Shannon. So.
And he's not going to be a cloud.
That's a great shout.
Thank
Although
you.
there's a shadow in the cloud, but yeah, it's a great shout.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes films make is when they go, oh, it's not realistic enough if he's actually a giant man. It's like, no, but that's it's kind of the point. Like,
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, and they've already said it's established in the MCU, like, you know, because they've got the head of nowhere, like the severed head of, like, you know.
Yeah, the Celestials.
Yeah, so yeah, that's cool.
I mean, Ego was a planet, so that's.
I mean, there's also that. You literally see his face as the planet. I'm glad they did that.
And there's also going to be room to. I haven't put the X-Men in yet. I don't think we'll get any in Phase 4 just because it'll be a little bit too soon.
They're not in
after
mine.
the
They're not in
first.
mine either.
No.
So, but there will be hints towards them. Maybe some post-credit
Interesting.
scenes. I wouldn't be surprised if a Deadpool turned up.
Interesting. I would be.
Why the whole killing off Peter Parker for Miles Morales?
Because it's going to happen.
You really think
think?
so?
Yeah.
Are you really pushing
Miles is going to be like, I think they are going to use this sort of like this 5-year age up thing. I think that's a way to get Miles a little bit older as well. And with Into the Spider-Verse being such a big hit and like critically smashing it, I think it just makes sense. And I think that's what people want. I think a live action Miles would just make sense, and to bring him in.
I'm personally happy with just like the animated Miles for now, and like the live action Peter, and then maybe in.
I'm happy for that for now,
maybe in
but
like
I think
20 years, I'll be like, yeah, cool.
But I think it'll be soon. Tom Holland, as great as he is as Peter Parker, he's not going to want to play him forever. And I think
He might.
Yeah,
He might.
Depends how much they pay him.
Said, like,
He's
a few days
getting-
ago, he wanted to do like the next 20 Spider-Man.
But
films.
he's got four. He's got at least 4 in total Spider-Man films at that point. I'm not saying he dies at the beginning of the Phase 5 Sinister Six film that he's having. I think it could be a team-up sort of thing with him and Miles, but then at the end Peter dies and Miles takes that mantle.
I feel the smartest way to do it wouldn't be. I think like films and comics are too quick to kill off characters for that quick. Like, oh, look what's just happened. I think the smarter way to do it would be a passing of the torch. Because I mean, they hired a young Spider-Man I imagine with the intent so he could play the character for years. I feel like if they feel like they've got enough of their Peter Parker, they could do, say, like the Spider-Man game, where they bring in a Miles Morales, give him a legitimate reason to be Spider-Man without having to kill Peter Parker like it was in the comics. Like that was his motive to become Spider-Man originally. Like they could still do that, I think, without killing Peter Parker.
Yeah.
They could just make him
Let him
retire, become a mentor.
I'd be okay with that as well. I don't think but that's the sort of time that I want to introduce Miles as we set up towards future and bigger multiverse
Would you be for him being in like in Sony's live action kind of slate of films? So you've got Venom, you've got Morbius coming out as well. No, MCU only. Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
One way they could do it. Sorry, it's just I've got no Miles in any of my stuff, so this thoughts just popped into my head.
Neither.
They could almost do it like they were doing it for a while in the comics, where Spider-Man Peter Parker was the Avengers worldwide Spider-Man, and Miles Morales was the street level Spider-Man. Like they could segregate it a little bit like that, but anywho.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, right. Let me just
Phase 4.
Phase 4. So for mine, I've got 8 films. I went off the release dates that Marvel already announced about 2 days ago for the next slate of films. There's no X-Men. But I've got a little bit of a tease later on for another Fox property. So we're going to start next year, May the 1st, 2020.
It's got an actual date. Yeah. Is that Thursday? Because it's normally when they come out here.
Yeah. I think it is. I don't know. Check. So this is going to be this is going to be from my Black Widow solo film, and I've called it Widowmaker.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of a cast.
You can't have it on March 1st.
May 1st.
May 1st.
Oh, May 1st.
Why can't I have it?
It's a Friday. You can have that.
Thanks. So generous of you. So we've got Scarlett Johansson. She's back as Natasha. We've got Jeremy Renner also as Hawkeye. It's going to be more prequel based because I was looking at the age of Black Widow and she was only born in 1984. So she's only be 16 in 2000. So it's going to be a fairly young Black Widow. And I think she joined S.H.I.E.L.D. like 2005. So it's like kind of space in between. For the kind of the tone of the film, it's going to be kind of similar to Winter Soldier, so kind of political. And I wanted to focus on like Russia and US relations. And through that, I was looking at like nuclear war. And one of the characters I want to bring in, played by David Harbour, is the Indestructible Man or Damon Dran. So in the comics, he was actually scared of nuclear war. So he transformed himself into like a being that could like project like nuclear energy off things.
Oh, wow.
So I think it would be a cool way to do that.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. What's important in this film though, that for Natasha, she's not actually Black Widow. She's still part of the Red Room, which is the group of assassins. But the actual Black Widow is Rachel Weisz, and she plays Yelena Bolovia, who is in the comics is the second Black Widow. Obviously, Rachel Weisz as well. She's a little bit older than Scarlett Johansson.
She's terrific.
Yeah, she's really, really good. And kind of like a little throwback as well. I've cast Rachel Pugh. I haven't got an exact name for her yet, but she's cast as
Florence.
No, Rachel Pugh.
Who's that?
Have a little look.
I'll Google it.
Google it.
Google.
She's cast as Dracov's daughter. Dracov's daughter is a throwback to the first Avengers film. When Loki's talking to Black Widow, he mentions like her red ledger and Dracov's daughter and like an event in there and her team up with Hawkeye. So it's gonna tie into that somehow. So it's gonna be about her transforming into Black Widow and then joining S.H.I.E.L.D. maybe at the end as well. So that's that one. So and then on November 6th, 2020, it's gonna be the Eternals. So much like James, I don't really know that much about the Eternals. So I did like a quick little read through. I've kind of gone off Neil Gaiman's run in 2006, where the Eternals basically is set in contemporary times, but the Eternals don't remember who they are, so they're just normal citizens like the Earth and that. And I think the only one Eternal who knows identity is Icarus, and he's going to be done by Richard Madden, who's kind of at the moment suggested to be cast by that. Yeah.
I like Richard Madden a lot.
So alongside starring that will be Angelina Jolie as Cersei. So she can like manipulate matter, I think, as well. I've got a few more, just the Immortals cast as well.
Go on, drop them.
I've got the Forgotten One by Mandon Suok. He was in the Train to Busan.
Oh yeah.
He's like a really hench guy, so he's be great for that character. I've got Makurai, which is by Kumail Nanjiani.
Oh,
that's right.
I didn't even know that's what he's going for.
So basically, looking at his character, he's kind of like Quicksilver. So his special ability is like super speed. So I thought his kind of humor would translate into like a Quicksilver 2.0, basically for the MCU, since they got rid of the first one in a really bad way. And then I've got for a younger one is an Eternal called Sprite, and she's going to be played by Millie Bobby Brown. So I'm going to put her into the MCU.
Interesting.
Because I think she's making good way at the moment, obviously, with Stranger Things. She's in Godzilla 2 as well. So I thought I'd bring her into the MCU as a character. So, jumping on to the next slate, we are going to jump to February 12th, 2021. It's going to be Black Panther 2. So similar to what you said, James, I'm going to bring in Namor into the mix. Copycat, how dare you? But this Namor, mine's going to be played by Sam Witwer.
Oh, right.
Wow, interesting.
I looked at
That's a bold choice.
Because I looked at his facial shape compared to like the rebooted Namor, and they look quite similar, like a younger kind of Namor.
He could actually be a very good Namor. I'm looking at a picture of him now.
I see it. I do see it.
Yeah.
The arrogance look to it.
Yeah.
He's got it down to a T. I've got obviously the returning characters. So I've got Black Panther's back, Shuri's back. Also got Martin Freeman back as well. He's going to be like a kind of. he's like a Wakanda to the rest of the world, kind of like liaison, I guess, because he was alive during the 5-year snap. So him and the Queen of Wakanda, Black Panther's mother, I think they kind of teamed up during that 5 years. The main thing for me, obviously, again, would be like the theme of like royalty, because Namor's obviously really well established in his like Atlantis underwater base.
Yeah.
And during the snap, like it actually benefited him, because we see that it was mentioned anyway in Endgame, like, you know, the water and the pollution around the world got a whole lot cleaner because of it, because obviously there's less people living about, and obviously when everyone came back again, it's gonna have a lot of pollution and stuff like that. So we're gonna see like Namor attack Wakanda. I'm also going to bring back as well Killmonger.
Wow.
And he's going to be in the Eternal Plane, I think it's called.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So we're going to have Black Panther going back and asking him for advice. Like, you tried to overtake me. I've got another guy trying to overtake me. I want some advice from you and some insight. So it's kind of like a pseudo team up from them as well, in a way.
Okay.
Maybe a redemption arc?
Cool.
Question mark? Who knows? We're going to jump to May 7th, 2021 for Doctor Strange Hellfire.
Ooh,
yeah. So for this one, the big bad's going to be Mephisto. He's traditionally a Ghost Rider villain, but I've given him a Doctor Strange because they do crossover sometimes. He's going to be played by Charles Dance.
I love Charles
Dance so much, and I think he's going to now like
It's working for Dave to Google him.
Yeah.
I'm with you now.
So he's going to be like a very kind of gentlemanly English kind of demon, that kind of really menacing, like a Game of Thrones kind of level, that kind of performance.
I like that. I
haven't really got like much plot details for that, just because I'm going to have him in it because he's so cool. Maybe it's about Doctor Strange trying to resurrect, is it the Eternal One? Back from the dead? Ancient one, back from the dead, potentially. Because we saw her in Endgame, so obviously Tilda Swinton's, I think we're still going to see her in the MCU at some point.
I think you would see her in
She's great. She's
in
so
a second
good.
Doctor Strange.
She's so good.
Yeah. And then we're going to jump to November 5th, 2021 for Shang-Chi. I don't really know much about Shang-Chi. I've got like a rough cast though. So for Shang-Chi, it's going to be Louis Tan.
Nope.
He was originally in Iron Fist in season 1. I think he was the Drunken Master, and he really kind of online had a massive kind of social media like push to be like Danny Rand, because he wanted to be like the first Asian Danny Rand. Yeah. Obviously, they didn't go for that. So I think giving it to him
for anything in that,
because I think he's quite a good martial artist as well, so he can do his own stunts.
Check out the Tommy and Dave review of episode 1-6 of Iron Fist on the Captain of Dave channel.
Sure, go ahead. Also, I brought in Jackie Chan as well. I was looking at martial arts kind of actors. Jackie Chan's pretty cream, yeah. And he's going to play his dad, which is called Fu Manchu.
I wish he was my
which
dad.
is his actual name, which is so cool. And then
maybe all our dads.
Yeah.
He's great. And then I've got 2 more characters, which is Lee Ko-woo, which is like Shang-Chi's love interest.
Okay.
She's going to be played by Gemma Chan. No?
Oh, yeah. But wasn't she in Captain Marvel?
I think she was.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Ooh. But she was blue in Captain Marvel,
yeah,
so you can probably get away with it.
Yeah, did she play, was it Minerva? Did she play?
Yeah, it's fine. And then I'm also going to bring in 2 other characters called the Daughters of the Dragon, which is like a detective agency, which is like a mix between American and like Asian like detectives.
Cool.
I'm going to bring them in too. So we're going to jump to 2022 for Captain Marvel. Haven't given it her name. She's probably the hardest character to cast and to put in a film.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, obviously.
Oh, you did it!
Oh,
how
surprise.
did you do that?
Not in that way. I mean, like
Terrence Howard.
I mean, story-wise, because she's so overpowered. Like in Endgame, they just got rid of her and then brought her back again. So it's going to be hard to kind of ground the film around her because she is so powerful. But I've cast a character called Optimus, which is actually an Eternal. So I'm bringing the Eternals back. So I'm expecting the film to bang, hopefully. And we'll see. And he's going to be played by Michael Shannon.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, I think that would work. And then we could jump to May. Michael Shannon.
He's going to be in the MCU.
Oh, and I'm also going to have Nova in there as well.
Which one?
I think it's like the Mexican Nova.
Sam Alexander.
Yeah.
Not the first one, Richard Ryder.
No, not the original. Yeah. So
I know more about Sam Alexander. Actually.
Yeah, me too. I prefer Sam Alexander.
I thought I'd put him in Guardians 3.
See him in my Phase 4.
But I thought no, I'll give him to Captain Marvel because I think he's a lot more cosmic.
Yeah.
In that respect. And then
could go toe to toe with her in a sense more than
yeah. May 6th, 2022. Spider-Man Graduation. I couldn't think of a home title. So, I know, right? Poo-poo for me. So I thought, no, let's get into Graduate. Oh, that's fine. Sorry, I just dropped my coffee. It's empty though, so it's fine.
Keep going.
I'm still going to go.
That's part of the bit.
It's part of the bit. I've cast in that I've got a female kind of lead beside Spider-Man. It's going to be White Tiger.
Interesting.
Yeah, who was... I think she's quite well known to be in the animated series.
Yeah.
That they brought out.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring him in as well. I debate you bringing in Luke Cage as well. Okay.
Have you cast your White Tiger?
I put Camila Mendes.
Okay.
I thought that might work.
That's fine by me.
I've got a question mark between like Luke Cage, so I thought maybe giving Peter his own team potentially.
Oh, so you're really going Ultimate?
Yeah, like giving him his own team and like
even bringing in Nova.
Yeah.
You're proper going for that Ultimate show. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I thought to give him a lot more responsibility, having like a team of himself, like an Avengers like B team, I suppose.
I like that.
Almost like a Young Avengers.
Yeah, Young Avengers. Yeah.
Oh,
so
also may make an appearance in my.
Oh, this is going well.
Who was have you got a villain for that?
I haven't got a villain for it yet. No.
Okay.
TBC. Oh, I'm gonna have as well. Instead of Oscorp, I'm gonna have Horizon Labs because Oscorp is done to death in like the film and TV shows.
Fair enough.
So
I was nearly gonna have Green Goblin as my villain.
I may have an Osborn appearing in my Phase 4.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Osborns are definitely in Spider-Man.
Cool.
My world.
I've got my final film, which is going to be on July 29th, 2022. Guardians 3 Final Mix. Okay.
Final mix.
Yeah. I'm going to have Adam Warlock in it, and he's going to be played by is it Nicola Costa Wilde?
Oh yeah.
Wildu?
Nicholas Costa-Wilde, yeah.
Yeah. I thought he'd be.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jamie Lannister, Dave.
Jamie Lannister. Give me that down.
Cool.
Yeah, so I think he's really menacing. He's kind of dense.
What?
He's like, I think he's like in his early 40s, so he's kind of an older.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah, he's a little bit older.
Yeah, and then
I considered him for mine actually.
Yeah,
That's
so
a
a
really
lot of it's
good
going to be
show. I like
like the Hunt of Gamora, and then having Thor with the Guardians as well would be a good character to go up against Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
I think of power levels because I don't think
you have
Star
to have
Lord
someone
could take
powerful.
him. And then the last act of the film, I'm going to bring in Silver Surfer,
Ooh.
and he's going to be played by Christopher Judge.
The guys that don't get the context, Silver Surfer's my favourite superhero. I don't know. People keep looking at me and going, ooh. But yeah, that's why.
Christopher Judge. He was the voice of Kratos. I think he was in Stargate as well.
Stargate.
Oh yeah,
Teal'c.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's absolutely
I met him.
amazing.
He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, so I'm going to have him obviously being the herald.
He was in Dark Knight Rises as well.
Yeah.
For Galactus.
I never would have imagined he'd be the voice of Kratos.
Yeah, I know, right?
Never pictured that.
It just works perfectly.
Sorry, keep going.
No, it's fine. He's going to be
got a
be
great
like
voice.
the herald for Galactus, but nobody knows who he is. Galactus, like who is this person? So it turns out this Galactus is going to be from another dimension. So right at the end of the film,
What a twist.
we're going to have Reed Richards and Sue Storm use the cross-dimensional
Played by-
transporter, played by John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
Of course.
Is that going to be everyone's? Because that's mine
think
as well.
Pretty much.
So they're going to teleport through from their world into like I suppose a 616, which is the rough idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So in their world, Galactus has already come and destroyed their planet.
Interesting.
So they've hopped dimensions to warn everyone else coming.
That's
He's
cool.
coming for you guys next. We're here to help you. Because I didn't want to give them like an origin story because we've seen it done like twice now. And I was kind of going by like the Spider-Man Homecoming. Audiences know the origin story already. So just having them already well established. So these are these characters. This is what they do. And then potentially having like a whole film by then down the line.
Cool.
Fair enough.
So that's my 8 films.
I have a question about your Guardians. Will you have thick 4 or thin 4?
Thick 4, obviously.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think get rid of the beard though, because I really liked his appearance in Ragnarok, and I got rid of it completely. 4 is just all over the place, character wise and tonally wise as well. It's just
Yeah, they
gets on
do.
my nerves.
They need to narrow that down. I like the beard, but they need to get some consistency to him.
Yeah.
I think they should bleach his eyebrows again.
Yes, that's my 8 films. I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest.
No Avengers film.
No Avengers film. No, I'm gonna have Phase 5 be a lot of the Fox kind of X-Men mergers, and then have Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Avengers.
Okay.
So Phase 5 is gonna be absolutely amazing.
Spider-Man.
There was one thing that you said ages ago, but I didn't want to interject, which I thought was brilliant, and that was introducing Namor via Black Panther. I think that's such a great way because Atlantis and Wakanda have always been like not necessarily a war, but there's been such animosity between those two nations. I think that's the perfect way to bring in Namor instead of just being like, oh, he's from Atlantis, here's his story.
I think it's just having two kings against each other.
Well,
kind of Shakespearean in a way as well, I guess.
I've actually, from that, I might jump into mine because I've done something different but similar with my Phase 4, which starts in 2020 with Black Panther, Clash of Kings.
Oh, I like that.
But it's not Namor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've actually not got, spoiler alert, I've not got any mutants or X-Men, or I'm including Namor in that.
Yeah.
In mine. But basically the main crux of Black Panther, Clash of Kings, is going to be kind of the introduction of like the Wakandan tech to the rest of the world, and you know the sort of fallout of revealing Wakanda to the rest of the world. There's going to be kind of like the Baxter building is going to be mentioned, and it's going to be the first like tease of that, and it's going to be sort of set up as like a big research center.
Cool.
And basically a lot of the Wakandan tech and the sort of Thanos spaceship tech that they recovered is all going to be sort of researched there. That's where they're going to be doing that.
That's cool.
It's not going to really mention any like Reed or anything like that yet. It's just going to be purely the Baxter building.
Cool.
And there's kind of this like political edge to it where because like Wakanda have essentially been lying to the rest of the world for centuries, that they kind of have to like reapply at like global summits and things like that. And everyone's like all fine with it because they're peaceful, that, you know, they were just trying to protect themselves, and they're now trying to share all of this knowledge and stuff like that. But there's one nation that's kind of blocking this and doesn't want them to rejoin unless they completely disarm themselves. Okay. So it's kind of like it's a really weird segue to make, but it's kind of like a Superman 4, the Quest for Peace thing, where like the United Nations essentially, well, this one nation want Wakanda to disarm themselves as a sign that, you know, they are on equal terms. This nation is Latvia. And the king there, who's never seen, it's only like through his, you know, like Secretary of Defense and stuff like that, is known as Werner von Doom, or Werner von Doom, but
isn't it Latveria?
Sure, Latveria. I think my
I knew it was going for.
I think my notes has auto-corrected it, and I'm now just rereading my notes.
It can still be Latvia though. Ground it.
Is Latveria? Werner von Doom. But yeah, we later sort of find out in the film that Werner's actually been dead for many, many years, and it's kind of like this AI machine Werner controlled by someone. We don't know who or who this was quite built by, but everyone in the country thinks like Werner's still alive and is still controlling things, but it's just a machine. And in a post-credit scene for the film, we see Victor Von Doom, who's kind of like an older man, you know, in his like 50s or something like that, leaving for America, but kind of anonymously. No one knows him as a royal. No one knows him as, you know, the kind of mastermind behind the Werner like intelligence. And we see him applying for a research job at the Baxter building. And that's that post-credit scene. Then we go to my next film, which is Asgardians of the Galaxy. So this is again about Adam Warlock. Oh, do you want my cast? Sorry, it's Gary Oldman as Victor Von Doom.
Oh, okay. That was
my new guy there.
Interesting.
Okay, so yeah, we have Adam Warlock played by Armie Hammer.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, as
apart from he's gonna be Batman.
Pursuing the Guardians. I'm down for Robert Pattinson as Batman. Side note. Anyway, pursuing the Guardians. Thor sort of like helps them out in battles and stuff, being the big powerhouse. It's very much about Quill wanting to establish himself as a leader and being a leader and what that means, you know, because we kind of saw in Infinity War him like messing up as a leader, and you saw him at the end of Endgame kind of almost battling with Thor for that leadership role and wanting to establish himself. So this film is very much about that trying to happen. During a battle with Adam Warlock, the Spartax Empire stopped the fight. So in the comics, if you know, the Spartax Empire is led by Jason Spartax, which is actually Peter's dad in the comics, but they did it differently in the film. But yeah, anyway, so they're like a warring race, and the battle was in their territory, so they put an end to it because they're the only ones that were allowed to battle there. So they put the Guardians on trial before the Galactic Council, which is kind of basing it off the trial of Jean Grey's story, but without Jean Grey. It's more about the trial of the Guardians. But what it is that saves them is in that battle that they reveal that they're the ones that defeat Thanos. And Thanos is obviously like a famous throughout the galaxy as being like the most powerful being. So the Spartax decree the Guardians. So they're no longer known as the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're known as the Annihilators, and they call them the Annihilators. With Quill declaring himself the leader of the Annihilators, the Spartax then deem him the most powerful man in the galaxy and make him the Emperor of Spartax, which is like their law where the most powerful person would lead them. So so then the rest of the film is kind of him. In the second Guardians, he was a god. In this one, he's like an almighty king, but like an unsuspecting king who doesn't really deserve it. So he's like enjoying his power. But then like the rest of the Guardians help him realise that he's not doing anything with it and stuff like that. And he eventually does, and he like frees the slaves and, you know, the soldiers of the Spartax Empire are then like freed and can live their lives as they want. We meet Pip the Troll, who's one of the slaves. If you know like Marvel Cosmic, like Pip the Troll is quite an important character and a fun little character. And he frees Adam Warlock as well, who like was created as like the perfect man, and, you know, was sent to get the Guardians, but realizes that they killed Thanos and that, you know, they freed him. He doesn't understand the mercy, so goes off to try and find out his own like purpose, and he doesn't think that his purpose should be to hunt these people. It should be to be the better person and the best man, and that's why he goes off and makes that own discovery. And the post-credit scene, we are actually on Earth. In a shield storage facility in Arizona. We see a room labelled, you know, like the Infinity Battle, whatever that battle was called. We see a janitor enter the room. He's got full clearance. He's meant to be there. And, you know, he's just cleaning up the room. And as he gets nearer an area, we see a Nova Corps helmet, and it starts the eyes like light up, and that's the end of the post-credit scene.
He puts it on and becomes Nova.
Nope. Nope, not him.
His name badge says Ryder.
It's Sam Alexander. It's Sam Alexander's dad. If you didn't know from the car, he's a janitor. But anyway, Doctor Strange 2 is the next film.
Sorry, before you say about Doctor Strange 2, I was just going to say the idea of leadership in Guardians, I think, was actually a really good idea. Because Quill's going to feel, everyone's going to listen to Thor, and Thor's going to constantly play upon it because he thinks it's funny. Yeah. And then you'll get given this leadership, so he'll be like, yeah, look, I'm a leader of a whole civilization.
Exactly, and I want it to be like kind of funny that he's like the leader of this war race. that think because he keeps like bragging about like being the leader of now known as the Annihilators, and that therefore means, well, they killed Thanos, so that like, everyone just thinks he's the most powerful man in the galaxy, and he's kind of got the reputation he always wanted, but then sort of it comes with a price, and he's now like responsible for all these people. I thought that'd be a really interesting thing.
And Thor could even basically like say at the end, like, I'm not the leader. Like, I was just saying all that stuff, but I've tried leading people.
Exactly,
and I
it
foul
didn't
every
work.
time.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I like the attention, but no, you're the leader. You're the one who makes the decisions.
Yeah. So Doctor Strange 2. I just put more magic, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and then my post-credit scene. So I didn't really know what to do with it.
Fast forward to the end.
So Strange speaks to what's his mate's name? Wong. He speaks to Wong that he learns about a scientist in the Baxter Building who's trying to combine scientific research with mystical research.
Ooh, cool.
Again, alluding to Doom, kind of combining science and magic, and he's just on his radar. He's not worried about him yet, but he knows he's got a bit of a flair for both, for both areas, and he's just worried about it.
He's got bad radar. You know who Thanos was.
2021, we go to Captain America 4.
Ooh.
So this film's kind of about Sam, Bucky, and Rhodey. In their sort of struggles, they feel to live up to Tony and Steve's like legacy, but trying to carry on like the torch still, because they think, you know, obviously you heard like in the first Avengers, you've got Coulson talking about how important the symbol of Captain America is and stuff like that, and that symbol's still very much important, in fact, if not more important now, after the fallout. So it's kind of them trying to live up to that, and they learn that Zemo has actually restarted Hydra, so Zemo from Civil War.
Interesting.
It's kind of them like dealing with that, and it's kind of more the Winter Soldier level like sort of stuff, a bit more like secretive, grounded, but them also trying to have the public post that they have, you know, etc. And the post-credit scene for that, we see that Hydra have been trying to recreate the super soldier serum, and have been testing it on like children so far. And we see like a potential for.
I wonder where that's going.
Yeah, Patriot is where I'm going with that. For Young Avengers.
Will there be any ties to the TV program?
No, it's one-way canon.
Oh, okay, really?
So then we go to Captain Marvel, The Rebellion. I've got a subtitle for that.
Oh, like it.
Cool. So it's about Captain Marvel's kind of stories trying to recolonize the Skrulls, or Skulls, as it's been auto-corrected on my phone. So it's about the recolonization of that, but then realizing that they're not all good, and that there's just as much kind of black and white as there was with the Krees that she learned, so that there are bad Skrulls still as well, and there's lots of colonialists like rebelling and wanting to carry on the Kree fight rather than just setting aside. And anyway, the post-credit scene from that, we see that one of these Skrull rebels uses like a cosmic weapon, and as part of the backlash of it not working, it sends like a cosmic cloud toward Earth. Which brings me to the next film, Fantastic Four. So in this film,
I didn't see it coming.
Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski. Sue Storm, played by Emily Blunt.
That's good casting.
Johnny Storm, played by Zac Efron.
Okay.
And The Thing, played by Brian Tyree Henry, who, if you've seen Atlanta, is a paper boy. Was also Miles Morales' father in Into the Spider-Verse. He's The Thing. Cool. So, S.H.I.E.L.D. put pressure on the Baxter Building to produce more results from the Thanos tech. They kind of, almost in a state of like embarrassment from how advanced Wakanda were, and how kind of Stark, like, it was the big like producer of technology. He's now gone, so they're kind of putting this pressure on to like keep America, in the tech race and stuff like that. And the Baxter Building's getting the bulk of that pressure. Reed reveals that there's a cosmic cloud heading towards Earth. He discovers it. S.H.I.E.L.D. say, it's not his concern, we'll leave it to the Avengers will deal with it, He doesn't think anyone else can do it. He thinks he's the only one who can do it, but it's blocked. Who's he? He's just, a scientist there. But he knows he's the only one. His wife, her brother and his best friend agree to help. They'll work there as well. They're all, that's how they met. They agree to go to space to stop the cloud, which they do. But it gives them superpowers, you guys.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Edge of my seat right now.
So they come back. They become powered. Throughout the film, we sort of see Victor Von Doom a bit more in the film. Gary Oldman's kind of a bit more fleshed out, but he's not the main villain. We kind of see him just trying to sort of steal equipment from the Baxter Building. He's basically trying to build. It's revealed that he built the machine in Black Panther, which was the intelligence that was supposedly his father, and that he's actually trying to build another machine to communicate with his mother, because his mother died. He then was like distraught with this, collected as much as he could from his father when he was sick to build this machine, but now he's trying to sort of retroactively do that with his mother to bring his mother back, or in the best way that he can, which is kind of why he's doing that. I want to try and build him again as almost like a sympathetic villain. But anyway, so the main villain in this is the Skrulls. They're sort of coming, they're attacking Earth, and with the whole cosmic weapon thing, and that's what the Fantastic Four put a stop to. The post-credit scene is Doom getting hold of the tech that he needs from like Thanos' ship and heading back to Latveria. I've corrected the autocorrect that time. Then we move to 2022, and we start with a new character, Nova.
Oh.
So Sam Alexander becomes Nova, and there's very much themes of like the young generation being inspired by almost like the martyr that Iron Man became. So there's very much that, and his story becomes about kind of the fallout of the Hydra thing from Captain America 4 with the children super soldiers, and him gaining power and trying to stop the evil ones, save the good ones, sort of thing. And in a post-credit scene for that, we see them freed, and we see one of the American soldiers who later becomes Patriot. But we'll get to that in Phase 5 when the Young Avengers come into play. Anyway, Spider-Man 3. No subtitle. Something, home, something. We see Norman Osborn showing up. I'll give you my whole cast afterwards, by the way, because I know I've introduced a few new characters. Norman Osborn shows up, does some evil stuff, and post-credit scene. Zemo does some evil stuff with Hydra. You can see how I rushed through my latter year. And then we finish on the New Avengers, where Hydra do some evil stuff. So again, like Zemo's kind of like the end sort of villain for this. But like the main villain that's been setting up for the next 3 phases has been Doom. So he's going to like really impact later on. For now, it's just been like his sort of origin, his sort of motives, and then Zemo has been set up throughout this as like, let's tie up this now. Yeah. And I feel it's kind of nice as well because it gives like Bucky some closure. It gives Sam and Rhodey their like comeuppance from like the Civil War thing, like they're all like tying together. So I feel like that's a nice little tie for the end of Phase 4. So my lineup for this New Avengers would be the new Captain America or Falcon, War Machine, or Iron Patriot. I don't know where to. I think I'm going to keep it as War Machine. Scarlet Witch, Spider-Man is actually going to be part of it. Winter Soldier and Ronin, who I almost forgot was still about.
Okay.
But so that's going to be my cast there. Just to quickly jump through, Sam Alexander is going to be played by Anthony Gonzalez. You guys, he was the voice in Coco, and he's a few live action roles as well.
I'm with you now.
And Norman Osborn will be played by Matthew McConaughey.
All right.
Thanks, Steve. Yes, that's my Phase 4. That's my 9 films.
So for Young Avengers, no mention of Captain Marvel. Is she not a thing anymore?
She's too powerful.
Yeah.
She's too powerful to be part of the Avengers. She's just doing the cosmic stuff.
She said she has a lot of worlds to look after. None of them are you guys.
Girl, exactly. And I think she'll tie in like the big event when like Doom's the thing.
Okay.
Obviously, guys, the big surprise here is no Silver Surfer.
Yeah,
that's because in my Phase 5, I wanted
them all to be Silver Surfer.
I wanted a solo film about kind of like Norrin Rad and stuff like that, and I want to get there, but
you don't want to rush it.
I do want to rush it. I do want to jump into it, and I wanted Doom to be set up as the big bad for this next lot, because I really wanted to get the Fantastic Four in there, and I feel like he's going to be more after Doom, the Galactus like saga. So I wanted to jump him in there, and I'd rather the Fantastic Four be much more established then. So I felt like it was too soon to have Silver Surfer yet. I don't want to rush into it.
Yeah, it's sensible. For Nova, would he be the only like member of the Nova Corps, or see downfall of Xandar?
So yeah, Xandar's gone. It was like a trophy of Thanos to keep one of the Nova Corps helmets, but the Nova Corps, like, they find someone. It's a Green Lantern, really. They kind of do the Green Lantern thing where they find someone worthy. And Sam Alexander is deemed to be... it's meant to be his dad, who's the janitor. But his dad's a bit of a drunk.
Okay.
So he would have been that person, but he's not anymore. So Sam kind of like takes it, although he's not supposed to. And he sort of finds that, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. And it's kind of like, this almost like Arthurian thing where like he is able to, he becomes super powerful.
It's like kind of a Thor Shazam kind of vibe.
Yeah, kind of. Like very much Green Lantern, to be honest. But he kind of becomes this, and it's about this kind of new generation, these young kids kind of stepping up and being inspired, like I said, by the Avengers and stuff, which I feel kind of makes sense.
That's really good.
Sam Alexander,
everyone.
I really love Nova. I was really all about that.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I'm all done at my questions. Jamie, any questions?
No, I haven't. It sounds good.
I think I did, but I should have noted it down because it slipped from my mind, as it is one to do. I do like a lot of you stuff have hit on a few of the things I've hit on, but you haven't said it outright, so that's made me happy for when I get to mine.
Let's get to yours. Let's get to yours, Dave.
I was going to say, is there anyone else want to discuss about your one before we moved on, or?
No, Dave.
Green light.
The stage is yours.
Oh, okay. That's stage fright. So my one's quite a bit different from how you guys have done it. I haven't got the point for point. I haven't gone like this film, that film, that film. I've more spoke about where I think they are going to go and where I would take it throughout all of Phase 4 and the theme and like how one narrative will weave throughout all of their films until it gets to a big bit, and some that I think they will do.
Like, do it. Let's hear
stuff going through. So, first off, I don't think there's going to be a big bad. I think it's going to be a big event, and the event is going to be the big bad. Because they've done Thanos marching through. Obviously, you got phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. When they did phase 1, they weren't even sure if it was going to be a phase 1. They were just trying to get to the Avengers. I think I remember them saying, like, if 4 flopped, that would have been it. All of it would have been done because Iron Man 2 and Hulk wasn't that great. And then when they got there, they were like, okay, so we could do a phase 2. They did it in phases because they were the bites they thought they could do. Now I think they know the MCU is established. They know until people stop going to see these films, they can just keep churning them out. So I think they're actually done with phases. I think now they're just going to make movies. But for the sake of this, I'll say phase 4 is just like a long phase. It's because they're getting longer each time. Look at
true.
1, 2, 3. Like phase 3 has been
We're going to have a Marvel movie every month soon.
Yeah, it's each phase is getting huge. So for the purposes of this, I'm just going to say this particular story arc begins and ends in phase 4. I think if they still do phases, in reality, it would go over a few phases. But for the purposes of this, is one phase. So the event that I think will be the big bad is Secret Wars. Not the original Secret Wars with the Beyonder and Battleworld, but the 2015 where the multiverse is collapsing.
Okay.
And in the comics, they had it that 2 worlds, 2 Earths were colliding, and if both Earths were destroyed, both universes were destroyed. However, if one Earth was destroyed, both universes would survive. So it was always a case of we've got to destroy one civilization to survive 2 universes. I don't think that's how they're going to do it in this, but the idea of the multiverse collapsing, I think, is going to be the overall point. And they've set this up in the newest Far From Home Spider-Man trailer as well. But I'll get into that in a little sec. The reason why I feel the multiverse and Secret Wars is going to be the overall thing is, think about everything that's just happened in Endgame specifically. The Infinity Stones were, as said by the Collector, were the building blocks of the entire universe. When the Big Bang happened, 6 singularities were formed, and these comprise of the 6 elements of the universe. Thanos snapped his fingers and wiped out half of existence. Every snap they've used these Infinity Wars, they've altered the universe. So every time that's created a crack in the foundation. That's on such a, it's not just like, oh, I've killed you, I've done this. They've changed the entire universe. So Thanos snaps his fingers. One crack in the universe. 20 days later, another crack. He destroys the Infinity Stones. Like, that's not just, oh, I've changed the cosmic landscape. He's destroyed the building blocks of the universe. Like, that has just, that's not just cracked. You've taken out the foundations of a multi-story complex. Like, that thing is that thing is going to come crumbling down. It's an egg without the shell. 5 years later, not only is there now the Avengers going back in time and grabbing these Infinity Stones, taking them out of their time, ripping them through time and bringing them to somewhere else. When they get there, Hulk snaps. All of those lives that are being obliterated have now came rushing back to this universe, which is now very, very fragile. 20 minutes later, Iron Man snaps again. All these people that were time displaced from 9 years earlier have now been wiped out of existence. I think this universe is going to come crumbling down. The whole thing is shattered, and cracks have been made, and it's leaking through. And from Far From Home is going to be the start of that. They're saying Far From Home is the end of this phase. I don't think it is. I think it's actually the start of the next phase. In the same way, Ant-Man, I think, was supposed to kick off phase 3, but because of when they got Spider-Man rights, they then made it end phase 2. But I mean, if you look at Endgame and what happened, Ant-Man was really the start of phase 3. It wasn't the end of phase 2. But anyway, I feel like Spider-Man's kicking off phase 4 with this multiverse. In the newest trailer, you see Mysterio, and Nick Fury says, "Oh, he's from Earth, but not our Earth. He was snapped here." That's not a turn of phrase. That was a deliberate word that was used. That snap that Iron Man did and some of the subsequent snaps before, I think, has shattered the multiverse, and people are leaking in. And I think these snaps are going to be the origins of many new characters coming into it, say like the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, people ripped from alternate universes. Maybe when all of this life was given back to the world, all the people that were decimated and brought back, maybe they're brought back, but some of their genes have been altered. Some of them now have a mutant gene inside them that didn't exist before. They've come back a bit corrupted, a bit different. But in Far From Home, that snap is how Quentin Beck came in, and that's how a lot of these elemental enemies came in. In one of the trailers, Mysterio says, sometimes people die. It's the cost of trying to save the world. I reckon the world Mysterio comes from, his universe, there's a lot of these elemental enemies. He said how he wished there was someone like Spider-Man on his Earth. I reckon there's not many heroes on his Earth, and he has to do whatever it takes to survive, including killing people for the greater good. And I reckon he's one of the only heroes from his world. And without him on his world's going to crumble. So he's going to get back there no matter the cost. And I reckon these elemental bad guys, he's going to use their energy to try and get back to his world, even if it damns Spider-Man's entire world. So I feel like he's going to be a hero, but not to our world, if that makes sense.
But it is Mysterio at the end of the day, though. So he's saying the truth.
I reckon he is a hero in his world, but he doesn't care if it destroys our entire reality if it gets him home to save his world. And I reckon that's why he's going to be a bad guy. He's going to be like a good bad guy, if that makes sense. Not an anti-hero, but like a sympathetic villain. Yeah. You believe in his cause, but he's willing to obliterate an entire civilization to do it. So it makes no sense. Obviously, he's going to fail. I think they're going to keep going with the trend they've been having in recent Marvel films where they're not killing the bad guy like they used to all the time, or at least in Spider-Man films they haven't been, for an eventual Sinister Six setup. I don't like the fact they always take that route, but they always do. They always go for a Sinister Six setup, so that's what's going to happen. It just is. But getting back to the multiverse thing, I think that multiverse theme is going to go through all the films when we get a Black Panther 2, when we get a Captain Marvel 2, a Doctor Strange 2, and any new characters that come in. There's always going to be this hint, these seeds being planted about a multiverse, about a character coming in who's just a bit different from the norm. Right. And that's going to eventually lead up to this Secret Wars event.
The same way every MacGuffin in the first few phases of Marvel was like, oh, it's another Power Stone, another Infinity Gem.
Yeah, until eventually in Age of Ultron, where Thor was like, this is the fourth or fifth Infinity Stone to come up. Someone's playing an intricate game and we're the puppets. It's eventually going to get to a point where they're like, do you know what? This has been happening a lot. What's been going on here? Where I said about the mutant gene being created, I don't think mutants are going to be a part of this phase. It's too soon, as you guys have all said as well. But I think the seeds are going to be sown. Yeah. However, I do feel this is how the Fantastic Four will come in. As I said, I don't have a time slate for any of this. I've got a few theories about how they could. One theory is that maybe because 5 years had passed, I doubt everyone, including governments, are just going to be like, oh, well, that's happened. They're going to be trying to look for other ways. And I think maybe they send a team of smart people, because a lot of smart people don't exist anymore. So maybe that's why Reed Richards hasn't been noticed thus far, because he is really smart, but he just wasn't a Black Panther or an Iron Man. And I know, obviously in the comics, he's the most smartest person, but he and a team are in space when Iron Man snaps his fingers and brings everyone back. And you don't know what they were doing out there. And that snap causes a problem on their mission, which then causes to get their powers. Or in a similar sense, like when House of M happened and Wanda said no more mutants, and all those mutants became depowered, they made it that their actual power had to go somewhere, and it was just in the cosmos. And when eventually some of those powers came back, I think it was like as the Phoenix Force or something like that. Maybe when Tony Stark brought all those people back to life, that essence had to come from somewhere, and it hit them as they did, and that's how they get their powers. That's irrelevant. That was just something I was thinking about as we were that was just something that crossed my mind. I hadn't thought about that beforehand, but I feel like when it comes to multiverses, the way the Fantastic Four are really getting come into it is because maybe Reed Richards is a scientist whose focus, his speciality, is multiverses, not necessarily microverses, but alternate realities and the science of that kind. Because one of the big things for the Fantastic Four is the negative zone. And I feel like maybe his research is into that. And now with the multiverse cracking, suddenly his research is just going haywire. That's not supposed to happen. These readings are going off the charts. Something is breaking within the multiverse. Then he can get tied into people like Ant-Man and the Wasp with the quantum realm and other stuff like that. And maybe the negative zone's how they get their powers. It's how they got their powers in the Ultimate Universe. And we know the MCU's followed the Ultimate Universe quite a lot. So maybe they're in the negative zone when the snap happens, and maybe that's how they get their powers, or who knows. But I feel like the Fantastic Four will be leading the charge when it comes to the multiverse, and that's how they will get brought into it. I haven't got casting for anyone, but obviously Krasinski and Emily Blunt. It just has to be. They're just perfect. I think they'll be fools if they don't get them. I feel the theme going forward is going to be heavily cosmic. They've said about it in the past that they feel like the future might be cosmic. A lot of the Marvel Universe, barring some later Thor stuff and Guardians, and then obviously Captain Marvel just recently, has all been very Earth-based. It's all been very quote-unquote down to Earth. Even Thor, other than these separate stories, a lot of it took place on Earth sometimes, other than Ragnarok and Summer Dark World. But I feel like a lot of it's going to be cosmic. We've got Captain Marvel, we've got the Asgardians of the Galaxy, and we know the Eternals are coming. I feel like characters like Nova are going to make an appearance, and there could be other offshoots as well. So I feel like a lot of it is going to be cosmic going forwards. If you look at the characters that are Earth-based, there's a lot of reasons why they could go to outer space. I suppose this could actually lean on quite nicely to my Avengers lineup that I think would be the next Avengers.
Okay.
Would quite like them to be called the New Avengers, but I don't think that title would work in a film. Like, I know it makes sense because New Avengers, after Avengers Disassembled, was what they were called when they first came back. But I feel like on a cinematic landscape, it would just look weird. It's just like, oh, look, they're the New Avengers team, so you've called them the New Avengers. Like, I don't think it would quite work. But I feel like possible Avengers lineup could be Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Spider-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Doctor Strange. Cool. Not necessarily all coming together as one, but maybe like how the original Avengers did, where obviously they all know of each other and they clearly set up Captain Marvel and Spider-Man. Like, there was a reason they put in that scene where they introduced themselves to each other. Like, I feel like they're going to be almost like Captain America, Iron Man being Captain Marvel, Spider-Man instead. Like, I feel like them two might be
I can see that.
Similar heads, and they're going to come together just because a situation throws them together. And they're like, do you know what? We're not a team as in we rock around every day together, live in the mansion together, but when the world needs us, we come together. This is our group. We've got the quantum realm, which could also be multiverse type stuff. We've got mystical. We've got the down to earth Spider-Man. We've got Wakandan Black Panther and all the technology, and then we've got the cosmic. It's a bit of everything. It's a bit of everything that we need. I had some question marks as to the future of their characters because I don't know where they're going. Because there's a few TV shows. We know we've got Sam Wilson and Bucky, Falcon and Winter Soldier, which I think now they might call Captain America Winter Soldier. Hulk, I have no idea what's going on with him. Apparently, I've heard recently that arm injury is supposed to be permanent, apparently. So whether that's their way of just kind of writing him out, I don't know. Scarlet Witch, I know she's getting her own TV show, and I know Hawkeye's getting his own TV show. If they weren't, I was going to put Sam Wilson in the Avengers as well as the new Captain America. But I don't know what's going to happen with their TV shows. I doubt they're just going to take him out of the films. But I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's going to be a 1, 2, 3 season deal or if it's just like a one-shot TV series. I don't know. And also War Machine and Valkyrie, I had question marks too. Whether they might pop up in other people's
Valkyrie,
films.
I forgot about that. I was going to include her in my Avengers. I totally forgot. That's who I was forgetting.
I think you should talks to do 4-4 at the moment.
Ronin's out of mine. Valkyrie's in.
I think we'll see a 4-4 at some point. Definitely.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because Thor is now in Guardians, I didn't know if there are any more Thor films or if he's just sort of going with Guardians, so then that way almost like his contract's open, so when he want to leave he can because he's part of a team, he's not carrying his own franchise. So that's why I thought Valkyrie might be going her own way. I feel like Marvel's going to want to put a push on some of the females as well, and I think Valkyrie would be a good one for that. Though I definitely in the Avengers wanted Ant-Man and the Wasp, not just one of them. I felt like they both had to be there, they both had to play a part. I mean, obviously in the past the original Avengers lineup was Ant-Man and the Wasp as part of the original team. So I think the ongoing thing would be the multiverse. Just get back to where I was originally going with it. Would be the multiverse and eventually lead to Secret Wars. Whatever happens throughout these films, eventually it will come down to not necessarily you have to destroy a world, but the multiverse is crumbling and they have to try and save it. And what I ultimately would love, and what we never got in the comic event, which they constantly teased on all the splash covers and all the promo art, and you didn't get, was two worlds fighting, all the heroes from one world, all the heroes from another world coming to a head. And the only reason you would actually get like an emotional impact from that is throughout these films, throughout this phase, if they introduce characters from this other world that you know and love. So not necessarily other universes. Maybe there's one universe where the crack is deeper, so we keep getting characters from their universe. So then when this Secret Wars event comes, if it was just a bunch of characters you know with just some characters they've introduced right then and there, you don't care if they die. But if they're characters that they've slowly been seeding throughout the years, oh look, I like this guy. Oh, he was cool. He helped the Guardians. Oh, that person was really cool in Captain Marvel. And then you're having to kill him to save your universe. Then you get the emotional impact. Then it's like, Jesus, I don't want them to. Or what if one of our characters crosses over to their universe and decides to stay there? And now you might have to kill them because they're fighting for the other world. Like stuff like that. That's what I would love the big bad to be. Not a person, but an event. Something that is coming and there's nothing they can do about it. Speaking of that, there's a few other characters I wanted to bring into this. One was the Young Avengers, which a few of you mentioned, because obviously Cassie Lang's been aged up a bit. And there'll be other characters they bring in, as you said, like Patriot maybe Wiccan and I forget his
Hulkling.
name.
Oh, Speed.
Hulkling. Yeah, that I don't know how they'd bring him in, but yeah, Hulkling. There was another one, Wiccan's brother.
Speed.
Yes, yeah, because the
Tommy.
Scarlet Witch TV series. Sorry, I've lost you a little bit there. Yeah. Scarlet Witch TV series is Scarlet Witch and Vision, or they've called it WandaVision for some reason. It's awful. But then Wiccan and Speed were children of Vision and Scarlet Witch, which obviously comic shenanigans. They aged really quickly and whatever. They were all part of the Young Avengers, so I'd love to see a Young Avengers.
So have you got Iron Lad in that, which is obviously... Oh, I say obviously, if you've read The Young Avengers, it's obvious. Which is obviously the clone of... No, it's the young...
Kang the Conqueror?
Kang the Conqueror, yeah.
Yeah. I haven't got him in my lineup just yet. I haven't really got a lineup for them. I feel like it's coming, the Young Avengers, especially the fact they've aged up Cassie Lang. I feel like that's where they're going to go. I was trying to think of other people. Like obviously you got Morgan Stark, but she's far too young unless they age her up again. Yeah. But then it'd be getting silly if they do that constantly.
Yeah.
Unless you get some time displaced people start popping up. You never know what happened with the snaps. So I would love for a Miss Marvel. That I think is something they definitely are going to do. I've heard rumblings about it. Obviously the Camilla Khan, she was like a super fan of Miss Marvel before she became Captain Marvel. Yeah. In this world they could just, I don't know how they would do that. Cool. But I think it's a story that needs to be told of obviously a young Muslim girl, like 15, 16, now has superpowers. Yeah. There's a whole bunch of things they got to deal with there.
Yeah.
But the main thing that would probably come at the end of Phase 4 would be the formation of the Illuminati.
I was thinking about having the Illuminati in mind,
Yeah, because I was thinking if you look at it, a lot of you, like when a few of you guys were saying Black Panther 2 would have the introduction of Namor, I loved that. And I thought to myself, hang on, we've got Black Panther, Namor, Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic would be getting introduced if our way goes. Hank Pym, if obviously
Charles Xavier? Question mark?
Yeah,
possibly, but
Charles Xavier could be introduced later. Maybe after the multiverse event, he could get introduced to it. Like after that's all happened, and like he could be like the big new one. But the Illuminati would be the ones who maybe Mr. Fantastic discovers it first, and I don't know how he gets introduced, but that's how they form it. Like maybe he comes across these people and he says, "Look, this is happening. I know you people have all very publicly had dealings with multiverse type stuff.
Yeah,
I'm here to tell you it's going to come to a head, and we need to do something about it." And it could almost be like a secret Avengers, like they could call it whatever they want there. But I feel like it should be the Illuminati. They don't necessarily have to go the same seedy, almost corrupt way they did. But I feel like it needs to be kept secret from the rest of them until eventually they're like, okay, look, we need to do something about this, and they're constantly working. So maybe in Black Panther 3 or Black Panther 2, or I don't know which way round it would go, he would come across a villain, and they're like, why don't we just lock him up here, or why don't we kill him? And Black Panther will have his reasons not to, but can't tell the rest of his cast, the rest of his friends, why he actually needs to release that person, because he's doing secret multiverse tests that nobody else within the Black Panther film can know about. So then there'd be a constant threat, like in a Fantastic Four 2 or what have you. We're doing this. Reed, why are you going to do that? Oh, I just have to get results from this. Why? I can't tell you.
Yeah.
And each character in their separate film, and in the Avengers, Doctor Strange will be doing stuff. Why are you doing that? I can't tell the rest of the Avengers, but I need to get readings of this. I need to find out why that happened. Or I need to let that person go back to their multiverse because I planted a bug on them. Or, just anything like that, which would make no sense to the rest of the cast until eventually they're like, right, cut the crap, what's happening? And I just feel like an event end would be
I like that Secret Wars pitch, because I keep I don't know, I guess my biggest theory at the moment about Quentin Beck specifically is that he's kind of doing like the whole Incredible syndrome thing, and that he's kind of like faking it, and that he's not really all this. I actually way prefer the idea that of yours, that he's legit, he is from another universe, and that I much prefer that, because I think the Incredibles thing, when it's done, it's too obvious, it's too boring. I much prefer the idea that he's like you say, like a hero in his mind trying to stop this world to save him. I much prefer that, and I like the whole multiverse thing. I didn't know that was the plot of Secret Wars either. That's amazing. The whole, if they destroy one world, 2 universes are saved. If they...
Oh, mate, if you want a good read New Avengers, what was the date? It's called Time Runs Out, and and it's about the New Avengers is about the Illuminati.
Okay.
Yeah,
and it's just them, and what I won't say too many spoilers, but they get lucky the first 4 or 5 times, like the world's already dead or it's inhabited by zombies or what have you, and you get introduced to other celestial beings that have already claimed it for whatever reason. Like they realize they're not the only ones tracking this, until one day they come across a group of heroes and it's a nice normal world, and one world has to die, and it gets like moral. Like they're like, we're heroes, we can't do this, and the other heroes are having the exact same dilemma.
Wow.
But it's really incredible. It's so good. And then of course, what happens if they come across another world that has their own version of the Illuminati, but is not necessarily good Illuminati? It's a good read, and it puts them at odds with the rest of the heroes as well.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Is it set before Battleworld then? Is it to do with 616 in the Ultimate Universe, or is it a different story?
Basically, what it all comes down to when it gets to Secret Wars is obviously there's 2 universes left, and the 2 that are left are the ones we know about: Ultimate Universe and 616 Universe. And that's where I got angry, because they billed it as this is going to be this big war, and it wasn't, and that really bugged me. But it's incredible. And then the battle world, that comes as a result of what happens during this conflict. But I don't know. See, the Secret Wars event I thought was a bit of a letdown. They build it as one thing, and it turned out to be something completely different.
What I really like about your idea, though, Dave, is that it's not just specifically the next big bad, the next Thanos, which is kind of what we've all gone for. I like that it's almost like the fallout from that, the repercussions of that, and it's this thing that they can't stop. They can't just have a fight with someone to stop this thing, because it's happening. It's happened.
Yeah, it's all based on consequences.
Yeah, I really like that. I really like that.
I feel like a big bad can happen again, but if they do it immediately, it's just going to be like, well, he's no Thanos. Everyone compares the bad guys to Loki.
And it removes the thing of, we can go back in time, steal the stones, make the glove, or use the quantum realm. We can't anymore. It's going to rip the universe apart. We can't do it.
Yeah. And you're right, like everything is your whole setup about the stones and the fabric of the universe. Yeah, it's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah.
Go picture.
And then they could say the only thing that could heal the universe is just time. Give it time to heal. And so if we use the stones again, we're just going to mess this right up.
Yeah.
Use time travel again, we're going to mess this right up.
I like the idea that they're trying to sit there and think about how they can fix things, and they just start listening to like breakup songs, which just tells them that time heals all wounds.
Taylor Swift, the 7th member of the Avengers,
the leader of the Illuminati.
Jeez.
All right, I guess that about wraps it up. But that was a little bit longer than the last episode, but obviously rather than just one film, it was like 12 films each.
It's a whole phase, yeah.
So that was that, guys. We've fixed it. So Kevin, if you're listening,
and Bob,
we take a little Bobby I.
Sure.
Bobby I. Go with that.
If you know him.
If you're listening and you go for that, would all like a writer's credit.
Yeah, well, four other Russo brothers that are unnamed over here.
Let us know in the comments below what your idea for Phase 4 is, or who you would cast in any of our films, or unless John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, I think we're just locking that down.
100%.
Sorry guys. Feel free
to. They don't have a choice.
No, that's it. They've already that's been decided for them. That's that. So don't forget, you can check us out on iTunes and Spotify and all the other podcast places, as well as on YouTube now. So we release a new of these episodes every Wednesday. I think it goes. Does anyone know the order? It goes
in focus, in development.
It's the wrong way around. In 10.
In 10. In development.
In dispute. In focus. So there are 4 shows that will be released alternating weekly every Wednesday, and then we've got, in case you missed it, our sort of weekly recap show on a Sunday night, right?
Yep.
6 PM
6
GMT. There we go. Dave, you've got your own YouTube channel.
Yep, I've got my very own YouTube channel, The Captain of Dave, playing mainly superhero stuff, typed games, but also I've been branching out for a little bit. Days Gone, Ultimate Alliance 3, when that comes out in July 16th, they're going to be playing that live as soon as possible. So excited for that. Can't believe they finally made it, and they actually did. I'm really pumped. That's going to be amazing. You can find me on YouTube at The Captain of Dave. You can find me on Facebook at The Captain of Dave, and you can find me on Twitter at just Captain of Dave, without the just. Don't put the just in. You won't find me. You'll find someone called Justin.
You can find me at Mr. TT Green. You can find James at Floodgate28, and you can find Steve at Stevie Poo Poo.
I've got 2 followers right now, which are you two. So plug me up, all right? I need some of that followers.
Follow Stevie Poopo. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for listening. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.